Don't put all your eggs in one basket is a well-known investment saying, but when we actually peel back the onion and look a little bit deeper, we can find that this advice may actually prevent us from building life-changing wealth, at least while we're still young enough to enjoy it. Why do they tell us so often in finance to diversify our investments and not put all of our eggs into one basket? Well, the answer is because generally it's sound investment advice, because diversification solves the problem of losing all of our money when one thing goes wrong. So by diversifying our investments, we remove a single point of failure. And with a diversified portfolio of investments, if one of those positions goes up in flames, then we're still left with a majority of our life savings and investments, and therefore we don't go completely bust. Most investors do not like the uncertainty of putting all their money behind one company, and so to solve that problem, they simply invest in lots of different companies, and therefore you remove company-specific risk from your portfolio. So the more companies that you add to your portfolio, the more stocks you add to your portfolio, the less your portfolio is dependent on one specific company, and that helps a lot of investors sleep well at night. But if investing in lots of different assets and diversifying our investment portfolio is such sound advice, then why did Mark Cuban famously say that diversification is for idiots? And why did Warren Buffett say that diversification makes little sense if you know what you're doing? The answer is that diversification removes downside risk by spreading your risk across many different assets, but at the same time, diversification also removes your upside potential. So when you have a broadly diversified portfolio, say if you invest in an S&P 500 index fund, then you are going to have limited upside exposure. So if you put all of your money into an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, you are not going to make 50% per year for 10 years straight. That's just not going to happen. You're going to make the average rate of around 10% over the long term, and that's based on historical numbers and may not extrapolate into the future. But the point is that if you have a really diversified portfolio, you reduce risk because you remove having a single point of failure, but at the same time, you also remove upside potential. So overall, you have less risk, but less upside the more you diversify. So broad diversification through investing in lots of different assets or investing in something like the S&P 500 reduces portfolio volatility overall. And a lot of investors, when you think of volatility, you might think of volatility as being a bad thing, but actually, volatility is a really good thing because volatility works in both directions. And if you are a high-risk, aggressive investor, such as someone who may be fresh out of college, doesn't have a lot of savings to their name yet, and wants to make more aggressive investments, they want volatility because the higher the volatility you have in your investments, the more volatility to the upside that you are exposed to. And when you have a broadly diversified portfolio, you are removing volatility from those outcomes, and that includes volatility to the upside. So imagine an 18-year-old investor named Charlie, and when Charlie turned 18, his grandma was nice enough to gift him $10,000 to invest. If Charlie puts this $10,000 into the S&P 500 ETF and earns 10% for the next 12 years, by the time he turns 30, he will have just over $31,000. So from age 18 to age 30, Charlie earned 10% per year and turned his $10,000 into just over $31,000. If we add another 10 years of compounding at 10% per year, then Charlie's investment portfolio will have grown to around $80,000. So over the time period between 18 years old and 40 years old, Charlie's $10,000 grew from $10,000 to $80,000, which is an 8 times return on his money. And overall, that's fantastic. Now, make no mistake, turning $10,000 into $80,000 is, of course, a very positive outcome. But unfortunately, the time frame that it took for that growth to occur was just too long. And from 18 years old until 40 years old, those are Charlie's prime years of life. And we have to rewind the tapes because Charlie wants to invest a little bit differently so that he can potentially grow that money into more life-changing wealth so that he can have more to do while he's still young enough to enjoy it. And that means that investing in a broad index fund like the S&P 500 is simply not going to work for Charlie because the math just does not work out. For Charlie to turn $10,000 into, let's say, $200,000 or $250,000 by the time he's 30, then an index fund is simply not going to work. The math just does not work out because he does not have enough exposure to volatility, particularly to the upside. And so for that math to actually work out, then Charlie has to invest more aggressively and be less diversified than he would be by purchasing an S&P 500 index fund. So for Charlie to go from 18 years old to 30 years old and turn his $10,000 into $250,000, he'll need to earn 31% per year over that 12-year time period. And a 31% annualized return over 12 years is obviously an insane return that anybody would do crazy things to earn. Now, while 31% per year over a 12-year period is obviously insane, the point is that you can't turn $10,000 into $250,000 in a relatively short time period without a high level of volatility. And with high volatility, that typically means you are less diversified than you would be if you were to just simply buy an index fund. So the moral of the story here is that volatility is not necessarily a bad thing because volatility works in both directions. And if you are a young investor or you want to take a certain piece of your investment portfolio and have a lot of upside exposure to that investment that you're making, then you're going to have a lot of volatility. And that means that you're going to have a concentrated position. By no means am I claiming that 30% a year is easy. All I'm saying is that the math doesn't lie. You can't earn 30% per year for 10 years when you're investing in an index fund, such as the S&P 500. And if you want those types of returns, particularly if you are a younger person and you don't have a lot of investments quite yet, and you want to be aggressive with that money, then that is completely fine, because if you want to build life-changing wealth while you are still young, then you're going to have to make concentrated bets. And by making concentrated bets, the door will be open to you to have high volatility returns to the upside. But if you are diversified, then you are closing the door of having rapid appreciation in your investments. So in one sentence, volatility is bad for those with a wealth preservation mindset, but volatility is good for those who have a aggressive wealth building mindset. Now, this might sound crazy, and I'm definitely not advising anybody to go out there and put all of their eggs in one basket. But if we look at the world's wealthiest people, we can easily determine that they built their wealth through concentrated bets. They did not build that wealth through diversified portfolios. So an example would be, Jeff Bezos. He owns 50 million shares of Amazon stock, and that is a highly concentrated position because with a share price of over $3,000, that means he's got over $150 billion tied up in one single stock. And that is a concentrated bet because when he started Amazon, all of his wealth was tied up into Amazon shares, and they weren't worth much when he started the company. But through riding out that concentrated bet over a multi-decade period and seeing Amazon transform into the company that it is today, it's no surprise that that concentrated bet paid off into the massive amount of wealth that he has today. Another relevant example right now is Elon Musk. Elon Musk did not build all of his wealth through diversified investment ideas or diversification in general. Elon built all his wealth by putting everything he had, including his own heart and soul, into these big ideas that he had to build the companies that he did along the way. And he built and sold numerous companies, making those concentrated bets with his time and energy. And those paid off into huge sums of money. And again, that did not happen through making diversified bets. So I want to clarify that I am definitely not suggesting that you listen to this video or watch this video and go and put all of your money into one thing. All I am doing is simply challenging the typical or the common investment advice, which is to don't put all of your eggs in one basket, and actually second guessing that advice and determining when that's good advice and when it's bad advice. Because as we've explored in this video, if you are someone who is a younger investor or you simply want to make a more aggressive bet or take higher risk bets with your money, then that's okay. Just understand that if you have already built up a lot of wealth, then making concentrated bets is probably not a good idea, because when you have a lot of wealth, you have a lot to lose. And that is when diversification is a really good strategy because it prevents you from catastrophic loss. But if you are younger or you're looking to build wealth very quickly, say in a 5 or 10 year period, then diversification is the wrong answer, because by diversifying into a broad index fund like the S&P or the Nasdaq, then you are basically eliminating the potential for huge growth in wealth in a short period of time, because you are too diversified, and too much diversification eliminates upside potential. Focusing our efforts doesn't necessarily have to relate to money either, because if we think about anything we want to do in life, if we put all of our energy and focus behind one thing, then we have the opportunity to have huge amounts of growth in that one area. And the same is true for money. If you concentrate your money into one thing, then you have the potential to have huge growth in that one position with your money, but then it can also work against you and you can have huge amounts of loss. When we are talking about real life, if I want to become a professional chef, then I need to dedicate all of my time, or most of my time, over a long period of time to getting better at making food. Because if I'm cooking for, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes a day, but then the rest of my time is spent recording videos or writing blog posts or making podcasts or practicing the guitar, then I'm not going to have enough focus, and there's not going to be enough energy going into that one thing, which is becoming a world-class chef. So by diversifying, I'm eliminating the potential to excel in that one area, whereas if I put all of my heart and soul into that one activity, then I have the potential to have huge amounts of growth in that one thing over time. When we're talking about investing, there's never a one-size-fits-all approach, and the strategy largely depends on the person, their age, and their current amount of wealth. In Morgan Housel's blog post, Investing Ideas That Changed My Life, Morgan says, "Be bold and brave, then diversify and remain paranoid." And I love this quote because I think it very nicely sums up a lot of insight into just 9 words. So if we're talking about 18-year-old Charlie, as we talked about earlier in this video, Charlie probably wants to be bold and brave as opposed to being paranoid and diversified, because since he has a lot of earnings to earn in his whole life, and he's just getting started with his professional career, and he also doesn't have a lot of wealth, then he can afford to be bold and brave with the potential of losing all of that money. But if we're talking about a 50-year-old with $1 million in the bank, then they should probably adopt the diversify and remain paranoid approach, because with $1 million in the bank and at 50 years old, you really can't afford to lose that $1 million, because if you lose all that money, then you're probably never going to retire. And so being diversified and remaining paranoid is much better advice than being bold and brave. I'd love to invite all of you to follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Butler_Chris. And I will also leave a link down in the description below for a newsletter that I will be starting very shortly. And the reason I want to invite you to these platforms is so that I can more quickly get my ideas and things that I'm enjoying right now to the audience and to you, because the problem with video, as I'm learning and not really liking, is that there's just way too much time between having an idea versus when that idea actually gets published on the channel, because making videos is a very time-consuming process, and it's multiple days from idea into when that video is actually published. So I will leave a link down to those things below. I would love for you to follow me on those platforms.